Welcome. My name is Mark Anthony Dubose Jr. And I was born July 4th, 1986. We'll say thank you for tuning in to try to figure out some more about your dog. Today I want to talk about something that's going to be much different than anything else. That's a way of, saying and giving some words of encouragement. Some words of encouragement are needed for some of us working with these dogs because we ran into a situation that we feel guilty. And then we know that we've lost respect, we've lost trust in the dog. But I just want to be one to just say that, again, I don't know everything. I'm not the supreme being of just everything out here and I got all of it figured out. But there's just one thing that I do know is I've been down a route of using too much force and using too much pressure and going and doing some things that I wasn't really comfortable with, but doing, thinking that it was going to be able to help me in the end. And I was at that last ditch of like, I gotta do something because I want to be able to get my dog in a better place. Tired of him barking at everything and barking up the tree and just going crazy. I got to do something. And I want to say that even though you've done some things to your dog that what I speak about a lot is disrespect. We're just not giving the dogs anything that they need. Even though you've been doing that, even for years and years and years, I want to say that it's not something that's, irreversible. It's something that once you start the main thing is just supply the dog its needs and what it's got going on, that you're going to start to see a transformation happen. That it's not just you did something to the dog and now the dog it's done. It's a lost cause. It's a lost case. It's never going to be able to get better. Everything is just going to keep getting worse. Come on, guys. We're not pulling to the trash can. Things aren't going to get any better. It's just an absolute lost cause, and everything is just going to keep on going downhill and downhill. That's not the case. And I want to be one to be able to say to you, like, just keep doing what you're doing, knowing that you may have messed some things up. You may have destroyed your relationship doing things that you didn't feel comfortable with. Because there's just one thing that I do know that I'm very firm on. If you are not comfortable with doing something that someone is asking you to do, your dog sees that. And your dog is also getting extremely confused because it's like, what the heck, man? I know you want me to say, do better, but yet you're sitting here doing stuff that you don't feel comfortable with. And that can lead you down a very negative spiral with the dog, making the dog just very confused about what it is that's going on. And even though that dog has been in that confusion, it's not going to stay in that confusion forever. It's going to be able to bounce back. It's going to come back. But the main thing is each dog is going to be very different when it comes down to that. Some dogs, it could be overnight. In other dogs, it's going to be a situation that it's going to take you months, if not years. Because just to talk about some things and be able to share some experiences that I've had, like I could just say with my shepherd here that it's been just about a year now since I've stopped all the, what I want to call is excessive pressure to get him to understand of what it is that I'm looking for. And we're still working on him just being able to the only thing I can say is appreciate me. We're still working on that. We're still going through that. We're still getting to the point that when I'm out here, even right now, when I'm saying to him, come on, he's just looking at me like, no, I don't want to. I want to do what I want to do. We're still working on that. And because of, I'm going to say, the high level of disrespect that I've basically been giving him his entire life since I've known him, is something that we're gonna work on and we're working through. And it's not an overnight thing that he's just gonna be good to go and everything is gonna be great. It's something that we're gonna continue to keep on working at. And one day we'll be able to get there to that point that it's much more relaxed, it's much more calm. And it's the difference that I can say of today, of where I can say that the same thing that I talk about with other trainers have to say is I've messed up a dog or two or three, that I've done some things that I'm not really happy with. And it's not for me to sit here and tell you how to do those same things, but just to say that even though you have done some things that you really are not too happy with, that you're able to get through it and get past it. And get past it in a way that more than likely in the end, things are going to be able to be in a place that it's much better. It's much better in a way that you now have a different type of relationship, that now it's going to be even stronger than what you even started with or what you even thought you wanted in the beginning, because you've had to work through some things. And sometimes when things are just perfect and everything is given to you and you got all the information and everything is all great and you start doing all that in the beginning, Kahi, come on. You start doing all that in the beginning, you end up with a dog that, it can appear to be good. You think that you like it. But at the end of the day, there's something about just going through all the troubles and all the chaos and all the problems that just really brings you to be in a much nicer place in the end. It's just something powerful about that. And it's just something like just what I'm going through today. Every day isn't just so perfect. Some days I go on walks out here And this dog, main one I'm looking at is my Kahi. I'm not worried about my Dalmatian because he's the one that I'm going to say knows the rules, knows the boundaries, knows what I'm looking for. But there's some days that it's just like he's I'm going to use that word flawless, man. He's just perfect. He's on mission. He never deviates from doing what it is that I'm looking for. He's just an absolutely phenomenal looking dog. Then there's other days like today, he's just an absolute hot mess. He is an extreme hot mess today. Just a hot mess that he's just like, I don't want to listen to what you got to say. I don't want to do. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening. I don't know where we're going. I don't know anything. He's just an extreme hot mess. A hot mess that is just like, it almost makes you feel like everything that you've been doing is for absolutely nothing. Like you feel like at a complete loss that, okay, you're going to heal now. You're at a complete loss that you just ran into a situation that you're like, nothing that I'm doing is working. Nothing is getting any better. Nothing is getting anywhere. Nothing is being able to get me into a situation that I'm finally able to just see some sort of success. And a lot of times just working through it all is what makes you just really, really appreciate everything in the end. Because if everything was just perfect, you just got a dog, day one, the dog was just pristine. You got the puppy had no issues. You kept going through it. I don't know, I'm going to say that there's some sort of excitement in that, but at the end of the day, not really. That's why most cases, most everyone I know in a situation like that, you end up getting that second or third dog because you're just like, you want more. You want a better situation. You want something different. You want to be able to just do something because there's something that's going on that it's like you're missing out on. And you're missing out on something that in reality, the dog putting you through all the chaos, through all the drama, through all the problems, through all the issues, is kind of like what I'm going to say that most of us are missing. Because we live on this planet. I'm going to say something that probably not a lot of people have heard. If you haven't heard, I hope to be able to say something to you right now to just get you to really, really, really rethink everything that your goals are, what your aim is on this planet. Because if we're just living this life of just extreme comfort, everything is good, everything's perfect, I'm never sad, I'm never lonely, I'm never irritated, I'm never frustrated, I'm never any of these things. In reality, that is not a life to live. And that almost kind of means that you've capped out. You're at your max. Because if everything is so simple, so easy, you got a lot to still keep going to. And that's kind of like something that I just believe goes on with these dogs. That we cap out with, they're so good, they're so awesome, they're so amazing. And that's why I can even say that same thing with myself, with my German Shepherd. He was pretty good. I mean, he was so good. I didn't even need to talk to this dude. If I take him out without this Dalmatian, it's a whole different situation. But when I brought her at an extreme level of complexity again, and it was because I needed to keep learning more, needed to keep growing more. I kept walking this dog and take him out here and he looks so great and it makes me feel like I know what I'm doing. But at the same time, it's kind of a false reality that I got him through a lot. Yeah, I had to do a lot. I had to rebuild a lot. I had to focus on him a lot to get him to be able to do what it is that I'm looking for him to do. But then I realized that once he got to that point of just being good, I guess I can say, I stopped learning. I stopped growing. I stopped trying more. I stopped doing anything. And there's something about that is just, we as humans, that's the only way that we are going to be able to, I'm going to say, find that happiness, find that peace. You have to keep working for it, I'm going to say. It's not just a day that we're finally done. Here we are. Everything's settled. It's all figured out. No, it's something that we're going to continue to keep on working on. And the more that we just appreciate that, the more that we're just going to really find the true help that we're actually desiring on this planet. Instead of just thinking that everything is just, you want it to be perfect and you want it right now. Because as soon as you end up getting it to be in a stance that it's perfect and you got it now, you're looking for that next thing again. You're already looking for it. You're like, where is it? Where is it? You're searching. You get back on Amazon and you're searching for that next thing to do. You're going back to the schools and searching for that next class to take, the next thing to do, the next place to go, the next trip to do, the next car to buy, the next this, next that. You're just looking for the next, as opposed to just seeing that where you are is where you want it to be, right? And it's something that is just in us. And since that's in us, just know that whatever you've done to your dog, that you feel, the word that I can use is guilty. You feel guilty that you did some things to your dog that you just don't feel happy about. You did some things that you're just like, I don't know, man, like I shouldn't have did that. I didn't feel comfortable with that. You did some things that your dog it used to be really close to you. It used to be much more affectionate, but now the dog is like running away from you. It wants nothing to do with you. You did some things that you saw your dog go through some. It was screaming, it was crying, it was begging, it was pleading, it was like, please stop, and you just kept doing it because, well, some professionals said that that's how we get dogs to be in a good place, and we've done some things to them, and it doesn't mean that the dogs are not going to come back from it, because the dogs will. The dogs definitely will, and I've seen it over and over and over, not only just with my own stuff, but with other people's dogs as well. I've seen the dogs, I'll say, recover. And I've seen them recover in such a way that you never would have guessed what you would have had, thinking and seeing where it is that you are right now. You would have never guessed where you're headed to when you just start to really understand the dogs and really start to just give the dog at the end of the day what it needs to be able to find that dog that you're actually looking for. And what that dog just really needs is some sort of exercise, some sort of play, some sort of something, some sort of work. It needs some sort of thing to look forward to on a day-to-day, everyday basis, so that the dog can be able to just count on that and then be able to calm down and relax. And that's going to be able to give you the dog that you've been begging for this whole time. But don't think that you want that perfect one that you didn't have to do anything to, and everything was just all right and everything was just given to you. That's not going to give you anything at the end of the day that you're desiring. It's going to give you something that is, for the most case, going to be something that's more likely going to set you up for failure in the end. It's going to set you up in a sense of failure that you're going to be wanting that next. And then it's in that case where I'm telling you that next, that's the one that drives you insane. You got your first dog that's so amazing, so great, so awesome, so just everything is so perfect with it. And then you end up getting that next one, and that next one is the one that really just starts to make you really rethink life again. And then you start going down that rabbit hole of, I need to put training on it, and I got to do this, I got to do this, I got to slap this on it, I got to do this, I got to make this happen. You start to feel uncomfortable, and then 2, 3, 4 years later, you're like, I just ruined my dog. I ruined my dog. And I'm gonna say, you didn't ruin the dog. You did some things that you learned now. You learned, and hopefully we're able to learn, to be able to understand what not to do in the future, and how to be able to also help someone else out that's struggling. And the more that we, unfortunately, our own stuff mess up, the more we're able to help other people out. And that's something I can say with myself, with what it is that I've got going on with my own dogs and my own, just not in this, but chickens and cows and goats and everything. I've messed up a lot. But it's something that I've really come to realize, that just because you messed up with the dog don't mean it's not going to come back to you. And that's something that, I can't say the same with human beings, but at the end of the day, most human beings kind of really are on that same thing. You give them some space, you give them some time, you start to just show them that you hear them, you understand them, that you're going to be able to run into a situation that you're going to be able to resolve those relationships as well. But dogs are so forgiving. They're so forgiving. They don't want to give it right away instantly sometimes because of things that we've done to them, but they are so forgiving. They are just an example of what forgiveness is all true about, on how you can literally know somebody right now that is physically, like, you've seen it, the dogs are being abused, but yet they still stay around. And it's not so much as because it's a trauma issue. It's just the fact that the dog is like, maybe tomorrow will be a different situation. And the dog does wake up in the morning and feel like, oh, okay, well, maybe it was a different situation. And then it realizes it isn't in the end. And it's like, oh, okay, well, maybe tomorrow. Well, maybe tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow. And that's something that these dogs are just going through over and over and over. And that's why they end up with these little quirks of, like, fear of getting hit and speaking too loud, doing something, because it's just each and every day getting the same thing. But it doesn't mean that dog is gonna hate you for the rest of your life. It's not that the dog is not gonna trust you for the rest of its life, or just want to keep giving you a high level of disrespect for the rest of its life. It's gonna be able to transform and change. And it's gonna look at you with a very high level of confidence when you start giving that dog what it is that it's looking for and it needs. And sometimes we don't really quite understand that at first. And it's like, even with my shepherd here back there, there's just too much for him right there. I'm trying to tell him to walk ahead like this, and it's just too much sometimes. And he's like, I can't quite deal with all of that. I need a little bit of, like, safety. I need to feel safe. I don't feel like I'm seen right now. And that I have to explain to him, okay, I got you, man. I'll help you out. I'll slow you down. I'll be able to get you in a way that hopefully I don't get a copyright strike on this a little bit of music playing right now, and hopefully you can't even hear it. But it's something that I got to show to him that I got you, man. I got your back. I'm not going to allow any people out here to try to do anything to you. I'm not going to allow anybody out here to try to damage you. I'm not going to let anybody out here try and fool around with you. I'm gonna keep you safe. But sometimes he's just in his world because of what I've been doing to him for year and year. Of just, you get yourself out there and you make it happen. You better perform. I don't care what's around. You better do what you got to do. And I've been doing that for so long that he still has a little bit of, I don't know. I'm a little unsure. I'm not 100% confident right now. And that's for me to keep just working him through that and working him through that and working him through that so that he can start to realize, like, I got your back. So in some circumstances, yeah, he's kind of looking at me like I'm doing too much for you. Like, I'm just doing too much. I'm too hardcore. Then there's other times that he just looks at me and he's like, I greatly appreciate you being able to help me get through this. Because even though I can see that he's still stressed and I got what I'm gonna say is high expectations, that I want him to just be in a scenario like this out here, just be neutral. But in reality, that's just unrealistic for me, knowing where it is and what he is and how he is, that I was just pushing him. And we're gonna continue to keep on working on this until he just gets to that point that we're gonna be in a much better place. And one thing that I'm guilty of, that I've messed up a few times with him, is comparing my dogs to even just my other dogs. And not only that, making it worse, but comparing your stuff to what somebody else has. And that is, I believe, what puts unrealistic standards on our dogs, that gets them to get in a very, very bad, really bad place. Because I seen this dog here, and I was like, German Shepherd, he's tough, he's crazy, he knows how to bite, he knows how to follow through with it, he's tough. And I was thinking he was tough because of him being able to do stuff like that, but not realizing that, no, he ain't tough, because a tough dog doesn't bite anybody. A tough dog ain't got no reason to bite another dog. A tough dog is gonna be able to get out of it and dance away with being able to say and do what it needs to do without ever having to get to that point of, I gotta even show teeth at you. And that's how my Border Collie is. And I was trying to treat him the same way as that, thinking that I'm gonna be able to convince him to be as tough as what another dog that I have is. And that was setting us up for absolute just failure. Not realizing that each dog is different, and each way I'm gonna work with each of these dogs is gonna be much, much different. And I'm not gonna sit here and be able to do the same stuff with every single one. And I need to understand that every single one is different in its core. Because I'm not even gonna lie. At the end of the day, when I first started running with this dog just this past year, I started running into a situation that I was like, it's a dog, it can run. Why can't he run with what I'm trying to run? I'm out here trying to do a simple, basic 10-mile run, and this dude is not capable of doing it. I was like, dude, it's a dog. Why can't a dog run? Not realizing that he's just not a dog for that. He's not a dog to be able to make that happen. Come here. He's not a dog to be able to make that happen. He's a dog that just does what he's capable of being able to do. And I'm sitting here trying to push him and push him and push him and push him to the point of just, he's literally like falling out dead. And then I was just not giving him a day off. So at the end of the day, I'm just as guilty as the next, as the rest, as everyone, in making our dogs do stuff that we for one, shouldn't have been doing, and two, in reality, doing stuff that we thought that was okay. And then at the same time, doing stuff that we know wasn't okay, that we ran into a situation that we were doing those things that we didn't feel comfortable with, thinking that the dog isn't going to be able to recover from it. And I'm telling you, the dogs will recover. The dogs will come back. Dogs will look at you with a high level of trust and respect when you start to put that trust and respect out there first back to them, and really understand what it is that's going on with these dogs. Because a lot of times we're assuming that the dog is okay with it, not realizing that the dog actually isn't. We're assuming that the dog knows what it is that we're asking for from them. And actually the dog has no idea what it is that we're looking for from them. And that's gonna set us up for absolute failure at the end, because what the dog is looking for more than likely is not what it is that we're looking for at first. But one thing that I'm gonna say is that I personally think is incredible about dogs is the dogs are gonna show us what we actually need to do, not even what it is that we wanna do. A lot of times what we wanna do is straight up sit on the couch, watch TV shows for 4 hours. But what you need to do is get up for an hour and make something happen. The dogs are gonna show you what you wanna do. You wanna just walk around the block for a little bit. But the dog is saying to you, what you need to do, you need to get out into the trees, get around the lake, get around some water, get up and do something, get up and go somewhere, get up and make something happen. So a lot of times what we think that we want, it's not. And our dogs are kind of like showing us what we absolutely need to get done, as opposed to what we just want to be in our feelings and feel comfortable with. And that's something that is, I believe, an incredible thing with these dogs, because most times with most people, once I get called in, I don't know what it is. My energy, because I already knew day one we need to get this dog some exercise. So I was like, let's go for a walk. And my initial walk with taking these dogs would be 3-4 miles. And I still make everybody come with me. I don't care if you haven't never walked a mile in the last 10 years. You want to work with me, that's something that I would always put a requirement out. You're walking with me, you're coming along, this is what we're doing. We're going to keep doing this every single day. And it's something that I greatly appreciate being able to see how people's lives just changed because of that excitement of getting up and doing stuff. And that new habit kicks in, and then all of a sudden I see people all over different places and doing different stuff with their dog, and not just the same old mess. Because a lot of times, I'm telling you, the dogs they're telling us what we need to get done. And even if we don't feel like we want to do it, we got to get up, or we got to make something happen. And that may be able to introduce you to a completely different lifestyle than you're even used to right now. Because a lot of us got these very high energy dogs. I'm telling you, I believe that we got these dogs for a reason. And we got these very high energy dogs because these dogs are, for one, just amazing. A very high energy dog is just the best of the best dog on the planet at the end of the day. In my opinion, I believe that they're the best. But most people that have high energy dogs are not said high energy people. So you got a mismatch. Because even with me, I'm a pretty high energy person, but I wasn't enough. I have more that I wanted to be able to do, more that I wanted to be able to get done. And since I've been working with my dogs, I've been able to live in a way that is just much, much different than anything that I've ever been able to be around, and being able to experience things in a much different way. And even just for me, being a person that I live on a farm, I like just staying on the farm. I don't like going anywhere. But my dogs have been forced me to go out and to go to places like this here. Just put me back into the world. And it's something that is incredible, because once I was realizing my dogs was looking for something for me to get done, not just what I thought that I wanted. I started seeing a much, much nicer life and a much just more joy. It's so cool to be able to walk around water like this, like pretty much every day. And again, I'm telling you, you got stuff like this all around where you live. You just got to look for it, and you got to want it. And when you decide to want it, like this place here is 50-minute drive for me to get over here. And that's something that I'll sacrifice that time. Listen to a couple of podcasts on the way, do a little education along the way, and just get out and just make it happen. And just do what I got to do to be able to experience this world a little bit more. Because a lot of times we're not doing anything. And that not doing anything is not letting us grow anymore. And that not growing is heading us for absolute failure. And it's something that I just want to be able to hopefully share with some people about how to be able to just get your dog into a better place of realizing that you may have messed up some with your dog. You may feel like things aren't going to recover, things aren't going to come back. But I want to tell you that they definitely will come back. It definitely will recover. Things definitely will be able to get better. Things definitely will be able to just get much better in a way that you're gonna be very surprised with the way that you're gonna be able to get things to turn back around. That a lot of times we just want to give up. Think, oh, it's just done. You know, I did this to my dog and it's never going to come back. So you just kind of you give up hope. Now, I for sure don't want you to give up on hope. And I don't care what the trainer is and what method they use, but I love that message that they say. Don't give up on your side-reactive dog. Just keep going, because you're going to see something absolutely incredible in the end. Don't give up on them, and know that they for sure still haven't given up on you. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to say something savage right now, but dogs can kill. And if your dog hasn't done that to you yet, you still got a whole lot of hope in there, because the dogs sure can get into a situation that they can get very, very dangerous. And when they're not doing that, they're holding back. We got a lot to go still. And that's something that I want a lot of people to just really put into thought. Just see what your dog is trying to get you to do. See where your dog is trying to get you to be able to move to, as opposed to thinking that what you want is what you want. And understand that the dog has needs itself. And once we meet those needs, we're going to see such a nicer dog. Thank you. There's a cute little thing right here. Hi. Ophi, we good. We find when Ophi don't jump at them, because they jump at her, then she's like, oh my goodness, I gotta see that. the main thing is just the lesson. Just keep walking and just keep going and keep going. Don't even pay any energy to it. It's the first time that I sat here and even looked at the dog and called it out cute and was paying attention. And then my dog is sitting there staring at it. If I don't look at it, I don't pay attention to it. This entire time since I've been out here walking past all these dogs, I haven't looked at a single one. I've just been looking at the camera, scanning, looking and walking and just doing what I'm doing. The first time I look at one and interact with it, my dog is like, okay, that's the one we're gonna go towards then. Let's do it. And that's something that, again, just ignore it and walk on. Just keep moving, keep moving, keep moving. Keep moving and keep moving. And keep doing that day after day after day so the dog sees that's what we're doing. We're just moving. We're not here to play and meet with every single person. We're not here to just be on top of every single thing. We're just moving. We're not out here to eat everything off the floor. We're not here to, even at the end of the day, let your dog get its sniff out. But we're not gonna sniff every single day, all the time, over and over. Let your dog understand that there's stuff that you also are looking for. And you keep doing that, and that's where you're gonna find a very high level of success with working with these dogs, because the dogs are going to just move along. They're gonna come along. They're gonna say, okay, well, I got my sniff out. I got my potty out. Now let's just go. And I'm like, okay, let's go. Because that's that balance. The dogs need to sniff stuff for that mental stability, and they also need to move to be able to get that energy out. So we gotta work both. As long as we're working both all the time, man, you're gonna have a nice dog. Thank you.